3-9. Here we are. A dreadful loss, whether it be 300 yards, 400 yards, 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, 200 plus yards receiving, whatever it may be. Here we are, 3-9. Bob, get your ass straight, man. We got therapy, man. Get focus on the camera today, man. I mean, I had a lot of personal stuff I had to deal with yesterday, so sorry for the late therapy session, but we're here now, and that's all that matters. So welcome on into the crock pot. I appreciate you guys tuning into another therapy session. Unfortunately, this therapy session comes in a loss, not in a win. We haven't had very many therapy sessions with a win this year, and it really, really sucks. But, hey, we had fun, right? That's the main thing that I see everybody running with this week. I have yet to listen to any type of interview, any type of radio, any type of any of that because, quite frankly, I have no interest of what these people are saying right now because it's the same stuff that we've been hearing, same bickering, same type of conversation, same type of all that stuff. And now you see Nathan Zagura coming out putting a stamp down pretty much. He's inside the building saying that the Watson experiment's over, but you know that he's still going to be on the roster. Then you got the whole draft a quarterback. There's just so much divide between everything. And I really just don't want to listen to it. I'm kind of just in my own lane right now. So everything that I'm coming up with is just my own thought. And I think we can't start anywhere other than Jameis Winston, right? He's the big question, I would say, not only moving forward this year, but moving forward next year and beyond because of what's on the horizon, which is Brook Park. Now, in terms of the game on Monday night, it was the full Jameis Winston experience, right? 34-58. We threw the ball 60 times. That is unbelievable. 58 times we threw the ball for 497 yards and 4 touchdowns. And it would have been a perfect game until the pick sixes. And that's been the story of Jameis Winston his entire career. And unfortunately, yet again, it reared its head back in. And like he said in his post-game conference, he just keeps praying to the Lord that he can deliver him from pick sixes because it's not him. Unfortunately, Jameis, that is you. We know it, and it is what it is. Doesn't mean he can't get better from it. Doesn't mean he can't grow. I believe the statistic is he is on pace to be. I think he's the leading passer in the league in the past 5 weeks or something of that nature. He's playing really, really good football, and it's another testament to, I guess, the Kevin Stefanski era or the coaching when another quarterback, Joe Flacco, came in and did this. Deshaun Watson came in and did nothing. Then Jameis Winston came in and did this. And it's just like you're seeing all of these certain things, which opens up more conversations that need to be had, which I'm really not interested in doing it, but we're going to have to do it anyway. But I think the question poses, is Jameis Winston the correct bridge? Is he the bridge that Browns fans want to move forward with? And I think that's the question that Andrew Berry will be asking himself, Kevin Stefanski will be asking himself, Ken Dorsey will be asking himself, how do we move forward with this moving forward? You know the playoffs are out of reach now. That dream is completely dead. It is officially dead. And you see what Jameis is offering, right? But you also know you're going to be in the top 5 picks of the NFL draft. And I think that poses the next question that I have for you guys, which is, would you rather have Jameis Winston and no top quarterback pick? Not saying that they won't draft a quarterback, but with the first pick in our first round, which is more than likely going to be a top 5 pick, would you rather have Jameis Winston and no top quarterback, and we draft a lineman, a receiver, or do something, or trade down and do something to help us in the future? Or would you rather let Jameis walk and draft that quarterback with the first 5 pick and go a different route and get a different backup? Because here's my thing with that. I'm all for bringing Jameis Winston back, right? But the city that we're in, the team that we're talking about, the fan base that we're talking about, you can't draft a quarterback with the fourth or fifth pick and then bring Jameis Winston back and expect it to go over the way that you want it to go over. The second Jameis Winston, because more than likely Jameis Winston will win the starting position if this scenario plays out, and our top 5 quarterback will be the backup more than likely. Deshaun Watson will probably be the third quarterback on that roster. I don't see them cutting him. How do you know what the fan base is going to do the second Jameis Winston throws an interception or the second Jameis Winston throws the ball in the dirt. And then 1 week will go by, he'll get in the starting job again the next week, and it'll keep happening. And then eventually we're just going to be doing that thing that we're doing this year and every other year, is glamour for the guy who's next up. And if you're okay with dealing with that PR nightmare again, if you're okay with dealing with all the questions that surround it, if you're okay with all of these things, then yeah, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and bring Jameis Winston back. Go ahead and draft your quarterback at the 4th, 5th pick, and deal with the fiasco like we've been doing forever. I just don't know if that's the direction that I want to take. I think you have to go one or the other. And I get on here every single live and I talk about it. I say, is 2028 the end? Like, is that what we really need to put our focus in? Us as fans, do we really need to understand that these next 4 years may just be what it is? Like, if we get something good, so be it. I'm more likely prepared for this thing to be 500 at best. You know what I mean? Like, are you okay with that? And I think that's the question that this organization has to answer, because I think I've heard the radio one time. I heard one caller today, and he talked about how, what was it, Jameis Winston? What did he say? Damn, I can't remember what I was gonna say. Just forget that unless it comes back to my mind. Damn, I'm sorry, I forgot that. But either way, I just don't know what our team's vision is for these next 4 years, and that's the thing that us as fans, I don't think we'll ever know. And unfortunately, we're just gonna have to. I think we're just gonna have to take the punches the way that they go. But let's go ahead and get into the game now a little bit. Let's talk about. Let's go ahead and break this down a little bit. I just we get so caught up in the hot new thing and trying to mimic what everybody else is doing. And we've gone away from something that has been a staple, at least in our franchise, for the past. It's hard to put it in. I mean, the first 3 years of the Kevin Stefanski era, first 2.5 years of the Kevin Stefanski era, and that's where we no longer are a run-first team. We no longer can control the game with running the ball. And if you look across the league and you see how these teams that are really good and that are dominant, they all can run the ball really well. The Steelers can run the ball really well. The Eagles can run the ball really well. The Chiefs can run the ball really well. We got so far away from thinking that we don't need these running backs and that we can just throw our way to wins, when in reality, these teams, the Ravens can run the ball. All these teams that are controlling the game all have run games, all can pound it when they need to. We went 23 rushes for 77 yards and 9 carries for 41 yards for Ford. And half of those yards came on a long run. And Nick Chubb went 9 of 21 for 10 yards. You're not going to win many games when you can't establish a run game and the defense already knows what you're going to do. 70% of the time, 60% of the time? We threw the ball 60 or 58 times and ran it 53 times. You're giving the defense an edge. And when you're talking about a coach like Sean Payton, or you're talking about a coach like Mike Tomlin or Jim Harbaugh or Kyle Shanahan or any of these great coaches, if you're talking about that, you're just basically giving them exactly what they want. You're feeding into them. And it sucks that we can't run the ball anymore, which is why I go back to that what would you like to do in the draft thing. Everyone's so gun-ho on a quarterback. How about we get another offensive lineman to be solidified for the next 5 to 10 years? How about we get a some more assets, right? Like I want to say the receiver, but that goes into the point that I'm trying to go against. But what I'm saying is, quarterback isn't going to fix all of the problems that we have right now. I see Cody or Watson is trash says that our roster isn't too bad though. You're right, but here's the problem. How are you going to get other players that are not in this organization, that are not in this locker room, to buy in to what you're offering when you took way too many steps back this year? That's the problem that I have. You can't just throw money at these players like you once did, or like you tried to do with Deshaun Watson and before that. You can't just throw money because you don't have it. So that means you have to sell people the picture that no one can see right now. Let's be honest, there is no picture from 2024 to 2028. The picture is like, you got to squint. It's like abstract art. It's there. There's a picture there. There might be something all up in it. But if you don't turn your head, and if you don't cork your eyes, and if you don't get real close and look into it, you ain't going to see the picture. And that's what I keep thinking of in my head as a fan. It's just like, man, this could really be a long 4 years if they don't catch lightning in a bottle these next few years, because I don't know what players want to come here. I don't know what coaches are going to want to come here. I don't know what of the Travis Hunter and Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, like the 3 players in this year's draft, why would they want to come here? Why would Deion Sanders allow him to come here when he's already been on the record saying he's going to have a say in where these players go? They'll maneuver it to how they maneuver it, and do what they got to do to make sure they land in the right situation. What situation are we offering? Dysfunction? Because that's what this season has been. Complete dysfunction. We got to a point where our 2-time coach of the year, and I'm off the. I don't give a dang what happens with Kevin Stefanski at this point, but we went from having a 2-time coach of the year to 7 weeks in him having to give up play calling. What type of function is that? There's no function in that at all. We went from having David Njoku and all of these players on the offensive side of the ball going to war for Kevin, like going above and beyond to give praise to Kevin Stefanski, to not hearing a peep anymore about that same let's go to war mentality with Kevin Stefanski from last year. It's a change. There's a complete shift in the culture in a matter of 7-8 months. And I don't know how you're supposed to take this product that we just put out on the field these first 12 weeks and the rest of this. Like, I don't know how you take this product and be like, hey, T. Higgins, listen, I know you want the bag. We can give you a bag. It ain't going to be the bag you really want. But if you just come into our organization, we're going to figure that you're our missing piece. You're our missing piece. Oh, really? Because I'm watching the Cincinnati completely cut up on offense. And they still aren't winning games. It's just not an easy sell like it used to be. You had Jordan Hicks say, yeah, I was willing to take less money to come play for Jim Schwartz in this defense and play for a Super Bowl and have a chance to play for a Super Bowl. You had guys like JOK take pay cuts to stay with this organization. Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, reconstructed his contract. You're not getting that same grace anymore. Myles Garrett's going to be coming up on a contract. Denzel Ward's going to be coming up on a contract. You think a guy like Grant Delpit is going to waste his career here? Absolutely not. He is not the same breed of Denzel Ward or Myles Garrett. He will be out the door the first chance that he has. JOK, I think, is a different. I think they've positioned themselves with 3 guys. One of them will have a really, really tough conversation. The other one will probably be at the whims of Andrew Berry. But Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and JOK, I think, are 3 guys that if they want to spend the rest of their career in Cleveland, they will have that option to do so. I think JOK is if I had to put my money on one guy to spend the rest of his career, no matter what happens with this organization, it will be JOK because of what he said and what he values most. He wants to be a one-team guy and give it all to this one organization. So if I had to bet, I would bet him. But if I'm Myles Garrett, guys, and I'm on the path, and I'm a walking Hall of Famer, Do I really want to? Do I really want to? Just do like is he really going to be the defensive Joe Thomas? Joe Thomas didn't care. Joe Thomas loved the Cleveland Browns. Joe Thomas wanted to retire at Cleveland Brown. He gave up an opportunity to go play with Peyton Manning and win a Super Bowl. Joe Thomas would have won a Super Bowl if he said yes to Peyton Manning. Will we get that same thing from Myles Garrett? I have no clue. I tend to think we can, but I also 100% understand that if Myles Garrett is like, hey, I want to go win. I want a chance to go win. If let's just say, I don't know, let's just say Patrick Mahomes called him up and was like, hey, Kansas City, we could you want to come win a Super Bowl? Is he gonna turn that down? Like that's the quest. That's the stuff. That's the problem that I have. Well, how did I get so far off of the game? What happened to Martin Emerson? My dog, man. MJ is my dog. I seen a tweet the other day and somebody was like, Martin Emerson has cost himself so much money, and that was the truest statement that I have ever seen in terms of Martin Emerson. That man has cost himself a bag because I don't know what happened to Martin Emerson from last year to this year. I still think he's a very, very great talent. I still think he has elite talent. But I also think we went away from what he does well, and that's pressing. I've seen too many times where he's getting beat and he's 7, 8, 9 yards off the ball. When I know that's not his strong suit. He's a physical corner. And it's almost as if they like, I don't wanna speculate, and I don't want to start a conspiracy theory that doesn't need to be started, but it's like, you guys know me. I like to try to take pieces of the puzzle and try to put it together. Knowing the money situation that we're in, and like we're just saying, he played himself out of a big bag. If this is a chess move out of the Browns organization saying, hey, Shorts, you got to switch. Because that goes into what happened to our defense as a whole, not just Emerson. I know I singled out MJ Emerson right here, but as our defense as a whole is not what we saw last year. Why is that the case? Like, how has Jim Schwartz gone from beloved to now we have to have the conversation of what the hell happened to Jim Schwartz? And it just makes me sit here and think, and it's like, well, when you put all this into perspective, MJ Emerson was probably going to get top quarterback money. He probably was going to want top cornerback money. Let's let the offense try to carry us a little bit. Let's take a step back on defense so we can. It's like they're maneuvering pieces to sack. You know what I mean? Like, you know how chess works. Sometimes you got to sacrifice the pawn for the greater good, and sometimes you may have to do this. I just think it went I think it went completely south. I think they blundered it a lot more than the blunder that they predicted they would if they did blunder. So it's perfect for Martin Emerson to come in next year and be like, hey. I guess, or if you're the organization to say, well, this is a prove-it year for you. If you want the bag, you're going to have to come out and prove it again. And I think he'll respond if he gets put in the better situation. But I just would love to know what happened to my boy Martin Emerson, because it definitely doesn't look like he's the same player as last year, and it's unfortunate. Now, what's really unfortunate is our damn kicking situation. What the hell happened to DeAndre Hopkins? Or DeAndre... What the hell happened to Dustin Hopkins? Because he has cost us... he's cost us... 1, 2... at least 3, maybe? 4 games? Like, the start of it was him? After we just paid him, let me check. Hold on. After we just paid him 15 million per, 16 million per on a 3-year extension? Like what? We ripped Cade York for this same exact BS that we are giving Dustin Hopkins. And I don't want to say we're giving Dustin Hopkins a pass. But the thing with this organization is they sold their soul. They sold their souls with the money. Right? Why can't we move on from DeAndre or from Deshaun Watson? Because we gave him too much money. Why can't we cut or bench Dustin Hopkins? Because we just gave him too much money. Like, you are trying to buy your success, and the devil coming to reap what you sowed. And now you stuck with it because you paid for it. Why was it so hard to move on from Kevin Stefanski? If Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry did not sign an extension last year, one of them would have been gone. Whether it was Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski, one of them would have been gone. But because you just signed them to an extension, you got to see it through, my boy. You got to see it through, my boy. And Hunter, you make up a great point. Because I've been sitting on something for so long, and I'm still sitting on it because I don't want to bring it to light yet. I mean, I've brought it to light a couple times, but I don't want to ride with it like I want to ride with it. But this tweet always sits with me, bro. Let me find it real quick. This tweet will always, always, always live in my head. And it's literally exactly what this whole team, I feel like, is built around. I feel like everyone they're all paying attention to the money, right? Hold on, let me find it real quick. How do I search someone's... Oh, right here. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Here it is. This tweet will always sit with me, bro. How do I pull this up? Hold on. Let me pull it up for YouTube real quick. Quincy Avery. On October 3rd of 2023... I'm so happy Darren Jones got paid last year. Anytime you can ski mask a billionaire, it gotta get done. This is Deshaun Watson's boy. This is Deshaun Watson's quarterback guy. This is Deshaun Watson's podcast partner. This is Deshaun Watson's dude putting this out there saying that anytime you got a chance to ski mask a billionaire, oh, it's gotta get done. I'm sorry. We just gave $230 million to your boy, fully guaranteed, and he hasn't played more than 6 games a year. What are you implying? What conversations are you and Deshaun Watson having? What conversation did you and Deshaun Watson have when he got that $230 million? Because if you feel free to put that out there on social media, talking about anytime you got a chance to ski mask a billionaire, you got to get it done. What makes me think that you and Deshaun Watson haven't had a similar conversation? And it ties back into the whole thing later down the road when you go back and look at how this season played out. Did the players really want to play for Deshaun Watson? Because I see Jameis Winston throwing for 500 yards. I see Jameis Winston averaging 300 yards and getting protection. I've seen Jameis Winston have more time than Deshaun Watson has had combined the 7 games he played. So is that the type of energy Deshaun Watson was giving off? That's what this organization has been built on. Money. It's been, everything has to do with money. Like Phil Taylor came on the post game and said, you got to remember, this isn't 32 NFL teams. This is 32 businesses. Jimmy Haslam bought this team for $2 billion. You put $230 million into something. You put $16 million into something guaranteed. You give guys extensions. You put all this money into it. When you're a billionaire, you're not just going to let that crap walk. You're just not going to let that crap walk. You're going to squeeze every ounce that you can get out of the investment that you put in. And here us as fans and as an organization, we have to deal with it. Which is why I'm so confused. Which is why in my heart, deep down in my gut, I already know what these next 4 years are going to be like. And it's going to be the same thing that we've seen the past since 99. And I think we'll see the real vision, the real effort, the real legacy of Jimmy Haslam and D Haslam once they get their thing, aka Brook Park. It just makes too much sense for them not to care these last 4 years. It makes the most sense to stay relevant. It makes the most sense for the business to try to sell people that we are going to make a run at this the next 4 years. But if I'm them, why would I give my 110% to a tainted organization who has nothing but poverty tied to them? Jimmy Haslam creates this thing in Brook Park. It's his from the very jump. It's not Paul Brown's. It's not Art Modell's. It's not anybody else's stuff. All those years and all the land that we've been on, all those decades and decades of misery, the drive, all that stuff, all that land, all of the bad stuff that happened on this land downtown that they call the Factory of Sadness, will no longer be in association with Jimmy Haslam because he'll have Brook Park. So that's where I'm at as a fan, trying to figure out like what exactly these next. That's why I don't want a quarterback next draft. If anything, we might as well continue to what we always do and play the asset game and really shoot for 2030, 2028 or whatever it is. A couple honorable mention stuff before I get out of here. Dylan, I'll get you live in on the next one. Next time I go live, I'll get you in. We're not going to do the live thing today, but I'll get you on the next one. I promise, Dylan. Jerry Jeudy, underpaid. He'll be our wide receiver 1 next year. That contract is an absolute steal. They did hit on one of the contract things, one of the guaranteed money situations that they've been throwing everyone guaranteed money to. They hit on one. Got to give them credit. Elijah Moore. I think a lot of fans need to start giving Elijah Moore a lot of credit because when he gets the targets and he gets the opportunity to go out there and catch the ball, he catches it majority of the time. He makes the play majority of the time. It's not his fault that he doesn't get the ball thrown to him if he doesn't. If you can scheme for if you can scheme for these other players, you should be able to scheme for a second-round guy that you traded for in Elijah Moore. And every time he gets the opportunity to go out there, he definitely performs. JOK had an update yesterday, not a big update. He was asked, Kevin Stefanski was asked about JOK, and he said that he will get ruled out for this week, but anything further than that, they're not going to look into. So hopefully that's a good sign for JOK, and we can get him back up on the field. How about Michael Woods, right? Can we give, you at the beginning of preseason and offseason stuff, you guys know how I talked about Michael Woods a lot, right? And how I just said, like, you don't go through suspensions, you don't go through injuries and all of these things and find your way hovering around this Browns team when we had, at the time, so much talent and so much expectation for the guys that we had on our rosters. And I don't know, every time I watch him on the field, he has something. He has the it. He has that, he might, like, damn, there's something there, you know what I mean? And he got 3 catches for 41 yards the other day. I know it's not anything world-class. It shouldn't be, oh my gosh, he's hyping up a mediocre performance. I'm not hyping up anything. I'm simply giving credit to a guy who's made it through a lot, who's been through a lot of adversity with this organization, and him getting an opportunity to go out there and make some plays. He made up some big plays and put us in position to go out there and put some points up on the board. So they just waived Jalen Darden as well. I am so excited to see what they can do with Michael Woods because I think he can add another dynamic to this team. And the last thing, Denzel Ward's might just be the best defender that we have had all year. Now, I know Myles Garrett, and listen, hear me out. I know Myles Garrett has been Myles Garrett, right? But I don't think there has been a more impactful player on our defense than Denzel Ward this year. He has been phenomenal when he has been on the field. Not only is he taking off half of the field, bro, he's creating the turnovers, whether it be tip passes, the Newsome, fumble strips, shutting down, laying the wood down, making downhill tackles in open field on one-on-one. There has not been a better defensive player on the Cleveland Browns team, and I love me some Myles Garrett, than Denzel Ward this year. And any of the on all of this Denzel Ward trade talk crap and him not getting his flowers and he's too injury prone and all of this other BS stuff needs to be put to bed. I don't give a damn about these injury stuff because when he is on the field, he is as effective as anybody else on the field as a whole. And I am not giving that up. And especially if he's not giving it up. If he's telling us he's healthy, and if he's telling us there's nothing to worry about, and if he's going to continue to go out here and play the physical style of football that he continues to play, why would we give that up? I don't care what the trade offer. I'm not going to say I won't care what the trade offer is. It'd be kind of hard to turn down 2 first-round picks if somebody wanted to give that up. But I digress. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has the price, obviously. But I'm not. He's not. It's not in the plans for Denzel Ward to be to be in trade talks. Let's talk about how Tillman is still out with concussion protocol, but Ward comes back in 3 days. I feel you. I feel you. I also think that. I don't know. I think there's a few different things that you can look at through that lens, but it is very, very, let's just say it's very, very weird how this team operates their receiving room. Because I'm very interested in the Jamari Thrash project, and I think he's caught every ball that has been thrown to him. I don't think he's missed a target. And yeah, he has not dropped a single pass in his career. And I mean, he's only had 3 targets. But he's caught every one. And I just don't understand why he can't get a chance. I don't understand why it's taken Michael Woods 13 weeks to finally get in the game and have an impact. I don't understand the whole decoy of Kadarius Toney and not wanting to I don't understand why Cedric Tillman isn't our second leading target. It is very weird how they definitely maneuver their receiving position, and they need to address that. Because I do think I think you see it. Everyone always hates on Elijah Moore, but 8 receptions on 14 targets, 111 yards. You remember back, he had a crucial 3rd down catch, too, on the sideline with the toe tap. It puts you in position. It's just they have to. You want to be this passing team, but you can't utilize the weapons that you have. I don't know, man. I hate that. I wish they would figure that crap out. Thoughts on Mason Graham in the draft? We don't need he's a defensive tackle. Where does he play? I'm not too keen on the draft suspects and all that stuff right now. What do you want to see if we have a top 5 pick? I want to see them trade down. Why did Darden get cut? Because they signed Bailey Zappi back to the roster, and I believe that's an indication to me that they want to see what they got in Michael Woods. How did Jalen Darden get an opportunity on the receiving end? I get it on the punt return and the kick return. I was a fan of Jalen Darden on that aspect. But Jalen Darden got more opportunities at the receiving position than Michael Woods has, multiple games. So maybe this is their audition for Michael Woods to see what he has to offer, and I'm here for all of it, every single bit, because I truly do think that Michael Woods made it through all of this for a reason. You're talking about a 6'1" guy with some speed who could take the top off the defense, good with his hands. could be good in the red zone. We've seen him in the preseason make some big red zone catches. They targeted him deep on that one where he drew the pass interference. He's just a big physical guy that I would love to have. Should Winston stay in Cleveland? Should they explore with Bailey Zappi? Someone had a really good scenario. They said just move forward with Winston. Come into next season knowing that Jameis Winston's going to be your guy, and let's see what we got in DTR. Again, how they maneuver their talent and these players, I think we know what we have in DTR. I think that's just us wanting to see something different, you know what I mean, and play the whole what-if game that we always play as Browns fans. But I think they know what they have in DTR. I think he's had more than enough opportunities to grab the job and run with it, and unfortunately he just didn't capitalize like we thought he could. And whether it's the preparation or whatever it is, but if you're a backup in this league, you hear backups say it all the time. They prepare as if they're starting every single week. And there's been some times DTRs has been thrown into the fire, and every time it's always been, well, I didn't know until this day, or I didn't know until blah blah blah. And it's just like we can't have the excuses at the quarterback position. DTR needs to be ready. Jameis Winston came in and he was ready, as you can see. It's just like, I think they know what they got in DTR, and I think that project's pretty much over, honestly. But that's going to do it for this therapy session, man. I appreciate everybody locked in and tuned in at midday. I know it was kind of last second and out of the nowhere, but make sure you guys are liked up and subscribed and tuned in with the notifications on all the platforms where you're at. Shout out to everybody that was on TikTok. Shout out to everybody that was on Twitter. Y'all been going crazy lately with the support. Shout out to everybody on YouTube and Twitch. And I will see you guys on the next episode, baby.